Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome back to a new video. So don't mind the kitty clips that I have on today, but I actually had to refilm this entire review part of this video just because I decided to change things up for this particular video. This is a way overdue video as well. Today's review was actually supposed to be a cushion recommendation for deeper skin tones for Korean branded cushions, and I actually filmed this like 2 months ago, but it turned out to be really long because I did add Western brand cushions, so I decided to scrap that part and just focus on the Korean beauty brands that or Kbeauty cushions that I've personally tried and that I would recommend. So for today's video, I'll be reviewing these 4 cushions. The other 3 that were non-Kbeauty related, I'll probably make a separate video next time, just as a optional foreign Western brand cushion recommendation, but today I'll focus more on Korean branded ones. Cushion foundations is something that I've always had a love-hate relationship ever since I started getting into Korean beauty. I think if you guys were to look back at my past videos where I did start getting into Kbeauty, I did try a lot of base products and cushions in particular that really obviously you guys could tell that I struggled with finding a good shade matching cushion for myself, and I think over the years I can definitely tell and say that they've made some improvements of adding various shades. It's still quite limited, I will admit, but it's a little bit more, it's just a little bit more better than the original 2 shade options that they usually had. Nowadays there's a little bit more shades available when it comes to Korean branded skincare base products, but they tend to be a little bit more various in undertones rather than shades. So I think after trying out multiple cushions, I just concluded that I should take a break from cushion foundations, just because even though I knew the shade wouldn't really match me, I still kind of forced myself to fit into it, which is kind of sad now that I think about it. But at that time cushions were just such a trend and I wanted to hop onto that trend, but I wasn't really that impressed with it because it wasn't really working for me. I mean, formula wise the cushions were great, but when it comes to the shade and the SPF in particular, it would just mess things up for me. And in this entire recommendation review comparison, I will either emphasize on the high SPF or the shade. So I do just want to point that out, that it might sound repetitive, but honestly, for being someone that's more on the deeper skin tone for a Korean skin tone range, SPF does affect the appearance of most of these cushions, even if I do aim for the darkest shade available from that particular cushion. So I just do want to clarify that, you know, it has a big downside to it every now and then from my past experience, so I will probably talk about that frequently throughout this entire video. So yeah, other than that, to just start off this video with a little skin talk, or like a little skin profile, I am, for a skin tone reference, I'm a MAC NW 30 to 35. For my skin type, I'm combination depending on the season. So if it's summer, I'm more on the oily side of the combination, but then in winter I'm more on the dry side. So the only thing that really stays consistent when it comes to my skin is my oily T-zone. And all these cushions are actually quite different in terms of finish, formula, and coverage. So I think it just really depends. I don't really stick to a particular kind of finish. Sometimes I would like a dewy finish. Sometimes I would like a full high coverage matte finish. It really depends on my mood or my skin condition. So I'll talk about that a little later throughout the video. So the first cushion that I'll be talking about today is the Etude House Any Cushion All Day Perfect Foundation. This has SPF 50 plus and PA++. The shade that I bought this in is in the shade Sand N05. I just realized quite late that I made the biggest mistake. So there's 6 shades available from this cushion. When I purchased this, I chose the darkest shade from what I remember, and it was Sand available from the website. So while preparing for this video, I realized that they actually had the shade Tan available, so that's the darkest shade. And I also did make a individual review on this product, and shade was way off. And I did try to blame the SPF, and Korean shading has a number system, so they have like 17 or like 21, and then like 23, 25, 27. It gets, as the number gets higher, the deeper the shade is. I ended up buying a cushion that was obviously way too light for me. This shade has a yellow base to it, so undertone wise, I don't mind it. Finish of this is semi-matte in my opinion. I think based on your skin type, it could appear more matte, but for me, it tends to appear more semi-matte. I think the finish by itself is actually really nice. So for the coverage of this cushion, I would say it's a medium to full. It's very buildable, so you could control how much coverage you would want on your face. The formula of this cushion is very lightweight on the skin, and that's just something I personally enjoy when it comes to makeup. I don't really like feeling very heavy on the face. For the longevity of this cushion, I would give it an 8.5. One thing I did want to talk about is the puff from this cushion. It's not exactly dense, but it's very thick. So in terms of applicating, it really does provide full coverage. And I think out of all the cushions I've tried, this is one of my favorites. So that's something that's not really important, but I personally enjoy and wanted to point out. The formula, the coverage, the finish, it works well with my skin type, so it does last longer. If I want to extend longevity, I would set it, especially in areas that are more oily, like my T-zone areas. If only the shade was closer to my skin tone, I would definitely recommend this for those who are like closer to my skin tone, but that's not really exactly the case. I wanted to include this because the formula itself is actually really good. The only downside really is the shade. If you guys didn't know, actually a lot of you guys should know, but Moonshot is a cosmetic brand owned by YG Entertainment. So ever since I got into K-pop, it really started from YG family. I've been a big fan. Blackpink came out with the Face Perfection Balm cushion, and I just wanted to try that out because I am really into Blackpink. So I got the cushion. It's quite old. Honestly, I should be throwing this out soon, but I wanted to save it for this video. But this is how it looks like, and this has always had a very unique concept to it. So it's not a typical cushion packaging because it's very bouncy and there's no cushion inside. It's just the product, and then you have the mesh to provide a more even distribution of product. At first, I didn't really like this, but after using it more frequently, I came to like it. So for this cushion, 301 is the darkest shade, and it does have kind of a more yellow undertone to it, so it worked out great for me. As for the SPF, it is quite high, but from application, the flashback or the white cast isn't too bad in my opinion. Formula wise and finish, I personally enjoyed this the most for a non-matte coverage foundation. So this balm cushion is really high in moisture, which is something that I really do appreciate, and adheres onto the skin really nicely. Like I said, I don't always prefer matte coverage, but when it comes to these finishes, I do want something that's quite long lasting and longevity of this, I would give it an 8.10. Eventually, during a certain time, like let's say 8 hours to 10 hours, I will start seeing it break down on my T-zone area where it's really oily. It's very lightweight in texture. This is like one of those cushions that just make your face look naturally enhanced and healthy and clear. It sits so well on the skin, and I would never set this cushion whenever I wear it. I would just let it be, and just very nice on the skin. The puff for this cushion was actually really good, but I vividly remember this because I actually brought this with me while I was doing my makeup on the train going to KCON last year, and I left it on the train, and I only realized once I was going back after the entire event, so I was actually really bummed out. That cushion puff was actually really good as well. I'm quite picky with my cushion puffs now that I think about it. It is catered towards this type of cushion, so it worked great, and you know, it provides high coverage even though this is quite light in texture. It's very high in coverage, and I mean, if you've seen other reviews on this cushion, you can just see how well it naturally works on people's skin. It just creates this magic, like as if you have really flawless, healthy looking skin. So I really enjoyed this cushion, and since this year the gloss skin was quite trending, this cushion would have been great for that. This is where the recommendation gets stronger, because I really like both of these cushions. So the first one here is the Clio Kill Cover Founwear Cushion XP. So this cushion has SPF 50 plus and PA+++, and I got the shade number 5 Sand. I also have a separate review on this cushion. As usual, I got the darkest shade, and this, it says BY, so it's supposed to be a brownie, beige, yellow kind of undertone. So when it comes to the undertones, the Clio ones turn to work out for me way better. Like that's probably like the closest match to my actual skin tone. Finish of this is a matte finish. The formula of it is just very full coverage. It doesn't really oxidize either, so it stays consistent and it sits on the skin nicely as well. Throughout the entire wear, it becomes like a semi-matte on me because of course with the oilier parts of my face, that's where it starts to kind of lose its complete matteness. But yeah, with this cushion, I personally enjoy this quite a lot. The formula, the finish of it, the coverage as well, it doesn't look too makeup-like, so it's still quite natural in my opinion. The longevity of this is like a 9.10 for me. It doesn't require that much retouching up, so it's a very effortless Korean branded cushion to wear and use. The only thing I really didn't like, I guess the SPF, sometimes the flashback could be a little bit too overwhelming, but you know, it does provide skin protection, so I'm not really too bothered by it since the shade kind of matches with my skin tone. So really, when it comes to me wanting full coverage, I would use this. And the last cushion that I'm going to compare it to, or kind of side by side review, is the COSRX Clear Fit Blemish cushion. This has SPF 47, PA++. So out of all the Korean branded cushions I've had, this is one of the lowest, but I don't mind it at all. There's 3 shades available. Again, I got the darkest shade. I do also have a separate review on this. This has a neutral undertone, so it wasn't too warm or too cool on my skin, so it worked out great. This doesn't oxidize either. It provides high coverage. This is probably higher than the Clio one for my first use. Sometimes it could look a little bit cakey depending on how much you apply. My first time trying this, I think I went a little bit overboard, but that just shows how well in coverage this cushion foundation is. A small amount of this goes a long way, so you shouldn't really need that much coverage or layers of this cushion. And the formula of it being quite matte, you know, it adheres and sits onto the skin really well, so it just allows the makeup to last longer, and the longevity for this is like a 10 out of 10. Really, with this cushion I don't have to touch up that much. Whenever my skin is breaking out, this is the cushion I would go for. Especially during the summer, I did break out quite a lot. It's great that, you know, you can find a base product that would cater for your skin and still, you know, allow you to wear makeup without irritating it even more. This cushion is probably one of the best that I've tried so far, just because it perfectly fits with my skin tone and my skin type. So anything I want in a cushion is in this particular cushion. So although the other cushions I've mentioned earlier were great, this is probably the only cushion that really specifically has everything that I want. So out of all the four, this is like my favorite. And that's actually pretty much it for this entire recommendation slash review slash comparison. Just to give you guys hope, I have seen more brands coming out with slightly more deeper shades, but for those who are similar to my skin tone, hopefully this helps you guys out when it comes to finding cushions. There's just so many options, and nowadays there's cushions that are like more specific when it comes to who it caters for or what kind of skin type or all of that. So just really do your research and try and look for reviews online, so you know, you get a better idea of it. Back then it was just really just based on judging from how it looked like online, and that was really hard. But nowadays it's a lot more easier to do research with Korean beauty products, so just use the internet. And I think that's it for today. I'm not sure if that was informative whatsoever. Hopefully it was, because it took me 2 months to completely finish this video, which is crazy. I'm very sorry for the long wait, because I did promise this a long time ago. But other than that, you know, feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Feel free to comment down below as well if you have anything you would like to ask or say. And I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.